All right, family, this is part 2 of our teaching on the Black Panther Party, power, protection, and the threat of Black dignity. So we left off talking about how J. Edgar Hoover, FBI, had labeled the Black Panther Party in 1969 as being the biggest threat to American democracy. Not the KKK, not all the other hate groups, not even the police back during that time, but the Black Panther Party, who started over 60 community programs for our people. Now, let's talk about the government's secret war, okay? You know all these movies they do about how the U.S. government infiltrates different agencies, and it ain't a lie. Art imitates life like life imitates art. So let's jump into it. There was something called the Counterintelligence Program. It was called COINTELPRO. Through a covert FBI initiative called COINTELPRO, which was counterintelligence program of the U.S. government, this is what they did, and this was started by the FBI. Infiltrated the Panthers with spies, spread false rumors to create division, sabotaged community programs, encouraged violence between Black organizations, and assassinated leaders, including Fred Hampton, and he was only at the age of 21, and they assassinated him while he was in his bed. This is our government, y'all. But no, we want to make America great again, right? Jesus. Let's be clear. The government didn't just dislike the Panthers. They used the full force of the state to destroy the Panthers. All because they were creating unity and success and growth in the Black community and protection. Do you all now not see the dangers of when we have racist people in power? What it does to a community? I got to repeat that because I need you all to hear what I'm saying, that they created a whole government. They created a initiative coined COINTELPRO, which stood for Counterintelligence Program, the U.S. government. It infiltrated the Panther Party with spies. It spread false rumors to create division. It sabotaged community programs. It encouraged violence between Black organizations, and it assassinated leaders, including Fred Hampton, at the age of 21 while he was lying in his bed. This is your government. I'm not making this up. You would have to be some type of nutcase to want to make up some lies like this. The media and the white gaze. When I say gaze, G-A-Z-E. Turning Panthers into predators. Alongside state violence, the media painted the Panthers as criminals, radicals, and terrorists. News outlets often omitted the Panthers' community work and instead focused on images of armed Black men feeding into white fear and white guilt. This is not a new narrative that we see today. The media has always flipped the truth to support their lies, to support their propaganda. We didn't just see this in racial issues. We saw this even in wars with Vietnam. Anytime the government wants to hide something, they flip it. And it causes confusion in the Americans' eyes because they know the majority of Americans are lazy and won't do their own research. And unfortunately, many of you white folk are so lazy and dead set in your own hidden and unhidden racism that you don't want to see the truth. Just because your government is wicked and racist, that doesn't always have to be a reflection of who you are, white folk. But you got to know the truth. Make America great again. This narrative of the Panthers being predators, it still lives today, y'all. When people think about the Black Panther Party, they think violence and anti-white, just like you do with Malcolm X. But when you see King, you always think peaceful. That's why you have Dr. King holiday. You don't have no Malcolm X holiday because white folk felt comfortable with King because he was talking about love and God and quoting that white Bible that they wanted you all to fall in line with. When white men storm capitals with rifles, they're exercising their own rights. But when black men protect their communities, they're terrorists. Sit with it. What we saw when those white folk rioted the Capitol had the audacity and the caucasity to disrespect that building. That tells me right there they were ignorant, don't understand what happens in those walls of power. Because when you have respect for your political system, you never would have stormed that. I don't give a damn what was going on. And they didn't even respect, at the time, the vice president, Pence. They didn't give a damn. So if they would storm the Capitol and kill a white man, how do you think they feel about black folk, y'all? Moving on. The difference is who is holding the power, y'all, and how uncomfortable whiteness becomes when black people hold it unapologetically. It's something scary to some white folk when you see a powerful black person who's unapologetically black, with his black family and his black wife and his black children and his black education and his black dignity. And not some of these whitewashed Negro. Let me stop. Stay focused, Angela. Let's move on. And what about the women? Did you all know that over 2/3 of the Black Panther Party were women? Yes, women like Assata Shakur, who resisted the criminalization of black radicalism. Erica Hudgens, who led education programs while being a political prisoner. Elaine Brown, who became chairwoman of the entire party. Yet the image of the Black Panther is still often hypermasculized, right? Leaving out the radical work and care of black women in that movement. But we're not going to let it bring division between us, because the picture is far greater than that. Why this history still matters, y'all are asking. The erasure of the Black Panther Party is part of a larger pattern, y'all. Whenever black people move beyond protest and into power, the system responds with fear, force, and propaganda. Let's repeat that. Whenever black people move beyond protest and into power, the system, the white power structure, responds with fear, force, and propaganda. So today, when we talk about community defense, mutual aid, or black political education, these are not new ideas. They are Panther ideas, y'all. The Black Panther Party ideas. So the next time someone says the Black Panthers were violent, ask them, violent to who? Violent to whom? The oppressor or the system that had already been violent to us for centuries? How can the Black Panther Party defending their communities and our communities be any more violent than hanging and lynching a black man or a pregnant black woman and cutting her belly open while she was pregnant so that the baby, the fetus, could fall out? Make America great again. That's what happened, y'all. This is the part of history they don't want you to know, black folk, white folk. That's why they want to take the books out of the schools. And that's why they hire these ill-equipped teachers that aren't teaching the truth. Shame on you if you are any type of history or civics teacher and you're not teaching. First of all, you don't even know the truth about America and slavery, chattel slavery, and the atrocities that took place, or with the natives. You can't teach what you don't know. And that's why our American children are growing up so ill-informed and ignorant. The Panthers were not perfect, but they were powerful. They dared to love black people so deeply that they risked their lives to protect and feed us. That's not hate, y'all. That's revolutionary care. And that is why the system needed to erase them. Because when black people believe in ourselves and love ourselves and defend ourselves, we change everything. We change everything. Do the research, family. Stop believing everything Fox News does and says. Don't even believe everything CNN does. Do some research for yourself. In a week or so, I'm going to bring on an amazing young woman, and she and I are going to have open communication and dialogue about various books that you all can read to educate yourselves. Stay tuned. Be blessed. And stay woke, y'all.